Hey guys, Youngblood here, and today we're going to be doing a little brief chat about one of the more interesting bits of lore that's been released, and that's the Neso Triangle. The information that we have is extremely limited, so we're basically left with nothing but pure speculation, but we're pretty good at doing that around here, so let's go ahead and chat about it. Back in 2262, so very early in our space-going history, the Goodman, which was a freighter carrying about 8 people, was taking supplies to an outpost near Neptune. On its way, and actually pretty close to its destination, it ended up taking damage from what was said to be debris, and the engines went offline and the ship lost its course. During this several-hour-long drifting period, they were able to get the ship up and running, at least to a certain extent. And then the last transmission that was received from this ship was this.
Beginning archive playback.
Copy that. Adjusting course 278.
Y'all got it sorted out?
I think so. Gave us a bit of a scare, but I think we're okay.
How's it looking? We're back on track?
You guys good? Back to send a tow.
No, we got engines back up. And nav's online. Huh? What the hell is that? Hey Pete, do you see
Signal lost.
What I hear in this is a crew that seems to think that their ship is at least operational until some sensors on the ship start beeping. And along with the crew saying things like, "What the hell is that?" and then asking another person if they end up seeing something. The clip then just ends. There's no boom, there's no screams, it just cuts out. So what does that all mean? Well, I think there's a lot of possibilities, including an attack from an alien ship, or maybe even a pirate, or hell, a comet or an asteroid or something like that. But realistically, I think all of those would either encourage more fear in their voices, or more sounds to help support that that's the real cause of the demise of the ship. And if I haven't mentioned it yet, the ship went missing, and to date, nothing has been found from the Goodman. So this took place in 2262, just 9 years before the first documented jump into a jump point by Nick Croshaw. The early jump drives were working by exposing the fusion cores to end up releasing radiation to open up that jump point. So if I had to give my best guess as to what happened here, I would think that the Goodman had just enough damage that it took that probably led to the ship releasing some radiation. This radiation then opened a jump point that the ship ended up kind of being sucked into. And I think this makes sense for a couple of reasons, with the first being that it would account for the sudden end of the signal transmission with no audible death happening. In addition, the crew seems confused, not scared. Identifying a jump point without precise scanners can be done visually. It's hard, but it's said to look like hot air on a summer day, sort of a shimmering light. So if the scanners saw something and the crew couldn't really tell what was in front of them, it could account for their reaction that we hear in that clip. I think in the case of the Goodman, this is the most likely explanation as to what happened. That being said, I do have my doubts, and here's why. Shortly after the disappearance of the Goodman, 2 other ships disappeared in the same area, giving the triangle name in homage to the Bermuda Triangle. I would have to imagine that these 2 other ships were not damaged in the same way, meaning that the leaking of radiation would be very unlikely to get them through that same jump point. Now there's 2 other possibilities along this same line that I think are at least worth considering, with the first being that the wormhole, which is still relatively unknown at this point, could have destabilized the entire area, either causing more radiation and maybe just other sensor anomalies that could have caused these ships to end up just being destroyed or disabled. And that could have just ended up spelling trouble for those other ships. Or the jump point may have still been open. If the hole was large enough and the rescue ships just got too close, they could have been pulled through. The other thought here is that this could have been the result of some intelligent intervention. Perhaps an alien race knew that this jump point was here and wanted to help the human race learn how to travel. So they intentionally drew damage on the human ships, knowing it would then trigger this jump and helping the humans make their first real jumps out of our system. The other thing to note here is that as of right now, there's not a jump point on the star map in this area. The closest relevant point is outside the Kuiper Belt, and that leads to the Croshaw system. So for those of you that are intrepid explorers, coming here to find out what happened could be a really good way to find some fame. It could be also a good way for you to die, but it's worth probably checking out. So I wonder if the Goodman jumped, couldn't get stable in the jump point, and ended up dropping down to that tunnel at some random place in space. I think there's a very real possibility that someone in the persistent universe is going to find this ship floating in the middle of nowhere. So that's my opinion on what happened, specifically just about it being a jump point that ended up causing trouble for the Goodman. I don't know how it actually played out. None of us really do. But I would love for you guys to share your opinions on this because I'm strangely intrigued by this topic. So that's going to be it for now. Put your comments in the comment section. Stay tuned for a whole lot more content. Have yourselves a wonderful day and take care.